Hi there, I'm Rebecca and a really warm welcome back to my channel created by Rebecca. In this week's video we will be opening days 7 to 13 of my DIY Diamine fountain pen ink advent calendar. Let's get started. Day 1 is Red Dragon, a lovely pigmented ink. It does seem a little bit sticky. I'm having trouble getting it up into the brow nib that I have on. Day 8 is Warm Brown, another one of the standard ranges. That swatch is showing a really big range of depth of colour, from palest beige to lovely deep chestnut. Day 9 brings me another shimmering fountain pen ink. This one is Starlit Sea. Now this one has got a silver cap on it. You can just see at the top of the screen the previous bottle had a gold cap, and I now realise that that is denoting what colour sparkles you're actually getting within the ink. Gorgeous dark blue ink with silver shimmer, giving it a good mix but trying not to get any air into it. This is quite a thick, rich ink and it dries really quickly. And you see the sparkle almost bloom across the colour. I'm just giving the bottle a little shake up before I use my glass pen to write out the name of this ink, just so that we get as much of that sparkle in the text as we can. Day 10 brings me Majestic Purple. I do love purple. Oh, that is beautiful. Ooh. Gorgeous, gorgeous colour. I want to do a sample of the Kavico purple cartridges that I use as well, just see how that differs. Oh, that's gorgeous. Back to the Browse Fanon nib to write this one. It's great to be able to try these inks out with so many different tools and pens and implements. Day 11 brings me Evergreen. This colour looked beautiful in the online swatches I saw of it, so I was really keen to get this one. A very thick ink, really thick. I have trouble brushing this around the page and have to re-dip the brush quite a lot. I don't know if there's anything I can do to remedy that. And I use my glass pen again, just simply because it is such a dry ink. It's also gone down very solidly, and I wanted to see whether the dip pen would give me any sort of variance in tone in the writing. Day 12. Oh, it's another brown. Rustic brown this time. This is really red leaning, and again, kind of dry. So really load the brush to get that box filled, and it's not a big box. Day 13 brings me Majestic Blue. We've had Majestic Purple, now we've got Majestic Blue. Now I was trying to avoid really blue inks because, I don't know, they're a bit boring, aren't they? Blue and black are the sort of standard cartridges you get when you're at school. I used to write in blue ink at school, and now, more often than not, I tend to write in black ink. And so I didn't want to load my collection with too many blues. But this one seemed lovely. Again, really dry. Really thick, really dry, and I really had to load the brush again. But it does just fine on the Fanon nib. Yeah, I've just misspelt majestic. Oops. Let's have a quick look at the swatches in the Rhodia notebook now they've dried. Evergreen is really interesting in the swatch. It's got lots of umber colours coming through. Majestic Blue has a real pinky red sheen to it. Where's that come from? It didn't look like that at all in the bottle. Now we're going over to my Artway sketchbook and repeating all the swatches. Red Dragon is described as a dark red with low sheen and low shading. I would agree with that. There is a bit of shading in the wetter areas as they've dried, but not huge. Red Dragon begins staining the paper with almost an alizarin crimson colour, which lifts up to almost a cadmium red, and then finishes on this almost Indian red colour right at the top. Warm brown is described as an unsaturated sepia, with a black sheen, low shading and no shimmer. I would dispute that this has no shading. When we look at this really wet swatch that has now dried down, it's got tons of shade. And I would say this isn't really brown enough to be described as an unsaturated sepia. It starts off more like a burnt sienna, and then at the top it finishes with more of a burnt umber colour. Starlet Sea is from the Shimmertastic range, a dark blue with silver shimmer, pink sheen and low shading. I would agree there's not much shading going on there at all. I don't see a pink sheen, but when we look at the chromatography strip, you really see that pinky colour. So it left all the glitter in that initial stripe again, and then it brings up this almost alizarin crimson, goes up into a deeper, almost Indian red again, and then hits us with a really strong phthalo blue. Majestic Purple is described as a red-violet purple, low shading, no sheen, no shimmer. I would agree that this is a red-leaning purple, and when you look at the chromatography strip, we can see there's a ghosting of grey at the bottom, which then lifts up into almost a permanent rose colour, and then into a purple lake, and then a really deep dark purple at the very top. Evergreen is described as dark green, medium shading and a medium black sheen. This is a really rich colour, so deep, so dark. And it was interesting how on the Rhodia paper we got those browns coming through, and here in the more watery swatches, again you start to see that sort of slightly yellowy brownness coming out. And wow, look at that chromatography strip, it is alive. It starts off with a cobalt blue, blends upwards, and there's a sort of fading of grey in there, which is interesting. Then we get a really strong bright green, and then end in a really dark olivey colour. It's great. I'm really loving watching the greens develop on these chromatography strips. It's fascinating. Rustic brown is described as red brown, dark, low shading, no sheen, no shimmer. It's almost quite a purpley red on the paper. Again, it's leaning towards sort of an Indian red, but more red than that. In fact, I compare it to Writer's Blood because they seem very similar, certainly at the early stages of the chromatography. But then you can see there's a lot more yellow lightness that lifts in the Writer's Blood. Majestic Blue is described as dark blue with a pink sheen, no shading and no shimmer. Yes, completely agree. Really dark, rich, royal blue. And we saw that pink shading in the Rhodia sample. It doesn't come out as much here in the Artway book, and you don't see a single trace of it on the chromatography strip. That's just lifted a really consistent blue up the paper, probably a cobalt blue and then ending in an indigo. The eagle-eyed of you will notice that I have rewritten the first lines of the Boar's Head Carol. It was annoying me that I wasn't going to be able to get them in one spread, so I took a moment and just rewrote the first colours there, and we continue on. The boar's head in hand bear I, bedecked with bays and rosemary. So I pray you, my masters, merry be, cotestis in convivio, caput aperi de ferro, redens laudis domino, caput aperi de ferro, redens laudis domino. The boar's head, as I understand, is the rarest dish in all the land, which thus bedecked with a gay garland, let us servire cantico, caput aperi de ferro, redens laudis domino, caput aperi de ferro, redens laudis domino. Our steward hath provided this in honour of the King of Bliss, which on this day to be served is in reginensi atrio, caput aperi de ferro, redens laudis domino, caput aperi de ferro, redens laudis domino. My Diamine ink palette is really starting to grow. Very exciting. I've got quite a nice range of colours there. Like I said, I was going to avoid anything like a bright yellow or a limey colour. Spring green is about as close as we get to a limey green, but actually in writing it's really lovely. Days 7 to 13 have been much darker, much moodier colours, and my husband is picking these bottles at random out of my box that I ordered, so he doesn't know what he's giving me each day, he's just blindly picking them. Right, well that's it for this week's video. Thank you so much for watching. Please remember to like, share and subscribe to me here on YouTube, and until next time, bye.